Hello, I'm Brian Vibberts, 7-time Grammy winner and scoring mixer working on this album for Jennifer Thomas, and it is a pleasure to be here at Abbey Road Studios. I am recording the whole album, later on mixing, which is fun, but it's also great to be, when I'm recording and mixing on a project, I'm already starting to think about the mixing process as I'm recording, and of course, if I'm recording, I'm getting the great sounds, and if not, then I have no one to complain to. But yeah, I like being the recordist and the mixer on a project, so it makes it, I don't know, it's a lot of fun being from the beginning to the end, that whole transition between the two. I chose some different microphones in this particular setup. I went from the early 1930s and 1940s with some of these older ribbon microphones that are behind me, and they have like a nice warm sound to them, and I'm blending that with the three microphones that are on the tree, which are way above the conductor. Those have a nice like full sound to them because it has the tube sound. And then I'm also adding for the spot mics, which are the closer mics for the strings, for the violins, for the violas, I'm using some condenser mics, which kind of really bring some clarity to the string section. So the combination of all these different kinds of microphones, for me, makes a really full sound out of the orchestra. Well, being here at Abbey Road Studios, first of all, is very exciting. And I wasn't really nervous at all, throughout the whole session because, I don't know, I just do this all the time. So I tried not to think about the Beatles being in the same room as we were recording, or else I probably would have started drifted off to another land. But the history of Beatles, Pink Floyd, the list goes on, and I love all that music. So I mean, Beatles are my number one group, that I love. So being here is definitely very special to me, but I came into it excited but not nervous. So this is really a full circle moment for me because obviously listening to the Beatles since I was, I don't know, probably 5th grade, they were my favorite, and they've remained my favorite all this time. But also working with Sir Ringo Starr, which I've done. I've worked with Sir Paul McCartney, and I've worked with Sir George Martin. So Ringo, Paul, and George, and now being in this room where all of them obviously recorded together so many years, it's incredible. It's, pinch me moment. Am I really here doing this, So this is my 3rd album with Jennifer Thomas. The first 2 were mixing, and now this one is going to be recording the strings and mixing. So I'm really looking forward to mixing this one now that we have all this, bonus material on with other strings, the real live strings. And then there's a choir that was recorded. So yeah, this is going to be another masterpiece. I kind of paced outside. We got here super early. So for 15 minutes, we kind of wasted time outside, and then watched a whole bunch of people taking pictures on the crosswalk. And then finally we were like, okay, let's go in. And so went through the gate. Then I had my son Jaden take a picture of me at the front door. And then security quickly came out. What are you doing here? All that stuff. So luckily we were official. We were supposed to be here. So and then walking through walking through the door, showing our pass, and it's just special being able to walk through and know that we all belong here to do this session. 2023, this is the 50th anniversary of the release of Dark Side of the Moon, which is 1973. So that actually is my favorite album of all time from any artist. So Dark Side of the Moon was on the charts for over 700, I think it's 742 weeks, somewhere around there, every single week. It's like 14 years every week. And so when I was in college, when it actually dropped out of the top album charts, When it dropped off the charts, I went to Tower Records and bought another copy just in hopes that if everyone did this, it would come back onto the charts. So I have multiple copies of Dark Side of the Moon. But I mean, this is where it was done. So it's surreal, really. But it's great that it's the 50th anniversary of that album as well. A lot of history in these rooms. So here I am at Abbey Road Studios, Studio 2. I'm finally here. Everyone's probably been watching the reels and the posts that I've been doing leading up to this moment, and now here it is. So it is as magical as everyone says it is, and I will definitely be coming back. There's still more to do. We're just beginning.
I'm really excited because I have Brian Vibberts here. He is my mixing engineer. He's done my last 2 albums as the mixer, and he's mixing the new Oceans album. But this is a very unique experience because he is also a recordist on this album. And the reason
for the first time.
I know.
Yeah.
Which gives you so much control over the mix too.
Yeah, which is great.
It's been so fun to have you here because we usually work remotely.
Yeah.
You're in Los Angeles. I'm in Seattle.
We're never like in the same place at the same time.
I'm never in the room with you
Yeah.
when you're mixing, and this has been so fun today to watch you just do your magic and do your thing, and
Yeah.
I've been so impressed. Not that I didn't.
Well, thank you for having me doing this.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, the only times we get together is during the award shows, which is kind of strange.
Which is chaotic and crazy.
But it's great to be
Yeah.
actually creating the music together and doing that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
This has been amazing. The reason I love working with Brian is because he does such a good job of bringing my piano out with an orchestra, and I've had mixes in the past where everything just kind of gets mumbled together and it's very muddy, and it takes a very specific ear and a balance to mix a piano with an orchestra. And since the piano is my main instrument, it's really important to me. And you just do a really great job of also placing things, so like
thanks.
you're not just getting it all in an earful. But,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's challenging to have the piano with a full orchestra and percussion and everything else. You know, to have the piano be heard the whole time is a little bit challenging in mixing, so I can understand why that is the case from what you've experienced. But yeah, for me, I like really placing the instruments in a way, panning from left to right, you know, like the different woodwinds and the brass and the French horns. The piano, everything has their own little spot,
Yeah.
you know, within the sound
shows.
spectrum. Yeah. I love doing that, so you can really focus on any instrument and hear it all the way through. That's always that's what I want to bring to the mix each time.
And you do a really good job of making the listener feel like they're in a concert hall. So if I'm sitting house center, I'm hearing the different treble and bass from where I would hear them if I was watching a symphony.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
is
that makes
really,
sense.
Anyway, it just makes sense to my ears.
Yes. Yeah.
The symmetry. It's really great symmetry.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
And we're doing it again tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
We'll be in different clothes tomorrow.
Same time, same place.
Same time, same place.
No, I always love working on your projects because the music really is great, and what Glenn brings to the table as well with the orchestrations and the arrangements, as well as yourself. And it's fun music. It's challenging to mix, but I always love a challenge. And but it's interesting. It's like it emotes like different things in in different songs. You have different emotions, different moods. Even without any words, being instrumental, you can get all that different material and emotions in there from one song to another, and I love that. And I always try to enhance what the mood of the song is, even if it's trying to make someone cry.
Yeah. I think that's something, it's always a goal of mine when I am also writing a piece, is I'm trying to, well, I like the audience having the ability to decide for themselves what the song means for them, but I try as much as possible to use the instruments as my voice, and so
really build the most out of certain moments, climax in the piece, and then you kind of bring it down and like less tension, then you kind of build the tension, because that happens musically, but I can also do that in the mix with volumes.
Yeah.
So, and I just love doing that, so it's always a pleasure to work on your music.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to work with you.